All right. Back to the story. Like I was saying, I think I was busting down some books and shit. I was reading up in there. Uh, anyway, I think I'm gonna go back over everything and fill in some stuff that I might have missed because I don't want to keep dragging this on. So I'll probably just do another video while I fill in some blanks and shit. But yeah, so I was in there, and basically I started when I was in jail. For those that um starting off from this video, you might want to go check out the other ones. But um, I started reading up on our original spirituality when I was locked up. Cause like I said, I asked that question when I was little. I was like, well, what were we studying before? Because I asked myself, like, well, damn, when I was like 8 or 9, I was like, well, if we came from Africa, what was our original belief before they brought us over here? What was our spiritual belief before we was introduced to the Bible or whatever? And years later, I ended up getting the answer by going to jail. Now, me going to jail or prison or whatever, the more and more I start to learn down there, the more and more I start to understand why I end up going to jail. And it was to find out this information. It was just because see, in Kemet or Egypt, you had the mystery system. You had the lesser mysteries and you had the high mysteries. And when you started off as a neophyte. That's why they call neo. Neo just means new. And I don't know what fight means. The fight part of that word or the term means, but you had the neophyte, and he was going to the mystery system or whatever. And you were going to the mystery system, and you go in there, and basically you'll find out, you go in and learn how to understand that you are a divine being. That was the whole purpose of the mystery system. But the way you would start off, you would go into the mystery system as the lesser mysteries consisted of like a lot of hardships and trials and tribulations. It was an initiation, just like nowadays with the gang thing. You have to get initiated. You might have to, you have to get proven. And, you might have to get jumped in, or you might have to put in some work, or however they're doing it these days. Same thing with the mystery system, like, and that was what I was going through. That's what I started to realize. The more and more I start to read and find this stuff out, and the more and more it started to reign true in my life, and I started manifesting this stuff that I was learning. That's when I started to realize, oh, that's why I came here. And that's when I realized how sometimes what looks like the worst thing for you could be the best, one of the best things for you. That's why, I had I was talking to my brother one day, and I was like, man, that was one of the best things that happened to me. I know it sounds crazy. And he was like, nigga, you tripping. Nigga, you da 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 da. Now, my brother lives in San Antonio. That's where my mom's side of the family is at. And right after I had this argument with him, I seen in the Bible, I can't remember what chapter. I think it was Matthew's or Revelations 2:10. I think it was Revelations 2:10. But it said, don't worry, they will put you in jail for 10 days. They'll put you in jail for 10 days, but don't worry, because you'll something I can't remember, but it had something about going to, and that was just another thing, you know. This is like right after I had the argument with him. That was just another sign showing that no, you are a Christ, or you're the Christ. You went through that, cause that's what they gave me when I blew trial. I got 10 years. It wasn't 10 days, but like I was telling y'all, you have to pay attention to the numbers. I'll find that chapter for y'all, probably for the next video. I'm trying to make the next one the last one, if not this one. Well, not the last one, but the last one dealing with, you know, my whole revelation of the Christ thing. But the more I started to read, I started to say like, oh, okay, this is my, because it's not like back then where you have, that's where your whole, the Masons and all that, their whole initiation, their whole setup is based off of the Kemetic mystery system. All they're doing is repeating what we already did. And they might got some other weird stuff that they do with they added on, but that's all they doing. So the more I start to read, I'm like, well, damn, this is what I'm going through right now. And that's what made it a lot easier. After I figured that out, I said, okay, I was supposed to come down here. Because the spirit world and the physical world are two different polar opposites. Now, the physical world is the world of illusion, the world of lies. So even though I was innocent, I got found guilty in that courtroom because, like I said, the spiritual world is the true world. Truthfully, I was innocent. My innocence is what made me worthy of getting locked up and finding out these greater mysteries. Because once you find these things out, you come to understand that this is the most important thing in life. So me going to jail was a small thing I had to do in considering what I was going down there for, but I didn't notice what I was going down there for. So the spirit world has a way of doing things, setting up things to advance those who are worthy of understanding this type of information. You have to go through hardships, just like they have to go through hardships. Just like I was telling you how the sun goes into the winter through the Scorpio sign, the mystery system. When you started your initiation into the lesser mysteries, they started it during the sign of Scorpio, which is the zodiac that's associated with initiation. Just like the sun goes, it goes to the dead of the winter or its lowest point. You go into the lower or the lesser mysteries through in that same month, because you will be imitating the sun during your process. So I was guilty, not guilty. I was found guilty by this fake court system. But on the polar opposite side, the true side where I was innocent at, I was innocent in pure heart, because you have to be pure heart to even be considered to learn these type of things. It's like I could teach this shit all day, but if your heart's not right and your heart's not in this, you will not get the. I can't tell you. I could tell you the ultimate goal of all this, but you won't get it until you're supposed to get it, or if you're supposed to get it. You won't get to the level or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I can't even explain. Can't even explain that shit in words. It's a vibe. So You know, I figured that. I said, well, okay, that's what I'm here for then. You know what I'm saying? Because that's all I want to do down there. You know, I play chess and shit, go out kick it with the homies or whatever in the day room. But most of the time, on weekdays, you know, I work. By the time I get off work, I take my shower. I might watch a little TV, but I go into my cell and read and shit. You know what I'm saying? So I learned about the Osirian drama, and you had Osiris, which is the man. This is the mythology. Our symbolism. See, a symbol represents more than one thing, especially when you're dealing with Egypt. Even the stories, each story can be broken down. They'll tell a story, and that story will represent something that's actually happened, something that has happened, and something that's about to happen, and it can symbolize the operation of the cosmos, or the heavenly bodies, the sun, moon, and the stars, all in one story. So you had the Osirian mythology. You had Osiris, or Osar, which is the Kemetic version of it. Osiris is the Greek version, or the Greek rendering of the name. Set, which is the Kemetic version. Isis would be the Greek rendering of that. And then you had Heru, which is where you get your word hero from. Heru is the original savior. This is, before it was the Jesus story is based off of Heru, which would be Horus rendered in Greek. And I'm telling you the Greek version because you more so hear these names more so than you hear the Kemetic versions of them. So you had Set. Now Set was this is where the Cain and Abel story comes from. Set was Osiris's evil brother. Set is the original version of the devil. Now think about Set. Set was once a good god. He was once a quote unquote good god. The whole story of the devil once being an angel that fell comes from Set, because Set was the original masculine, or the original son of the mother, because the original worship was or the original, we could just say worship. I don't like using that word because it's really not fitting for what our ancestors was doing, because it's not like, because when you hear worship, you think they looked at this picture of a bull and just was like, that's God. It's like, no, they understood that bull was a representation of the invisible force of God, or a component of God. But anyway, Set was the first one. Now, his animal totem sign is a donkey or an ass. He was the first. Each deity or each netter, because that's what they're called, netters, or the Netcheru, each netter has an age where it has its own age, or its own it has its own point of time where it's quote unquote worshipped. And then once its time is up, you bring in another deity or another nature, and you can still pay homage to the past in retrospect. But with the Set thing, you had a group of individuals or a group of priesthood that didn't want to let go. And within our change is king. It's about we are always about progressing forward. So if you're still stuck on Set, then you're not progressing forward. You're hindering. It's just like right now, we're always trying to progress further. Create a camera, and we try to create a better camera. We don't just say, oh, we're just gonna stick with this camera. We're gonna figure out how we can improve upon this and make a new camera, or a new Nintendo, or a new whatever. So and the ass was used as his totem sign because the animal, the actual donkey, is a stubborn animal. You know, it's stubborn. You have to, and it bears. You know, when they used to travel through the desert and stuff, they used to use the donkey to carry shit. You know, they put the strap the donkey back with whatever they trying to move or whatever. But the donkey was a reluctant animal. Now, the ultimate evil, quote unquote evil, negative or whatever, is the physical body or physical reality. This is a prison. The physical world that you live in, including your physical body, is a prison. You come here to learn a lesson. The same way I went to prison to find out I was a god, same thing you're here to do in this physical world. You might not necessarily have to go to jail, but you have to understand that your physical body is your prison. This is your tomb. Your soul dies when it enters into your physical body, and it's your job to resurrect it. That's what the whole Jesus story is about, the resurrection. So the physical body is stubborn too, because if you look at steam, you see steam. It's particles of water that's vibrating at a higher degree because of the heat that it's been exposed to. It's vibrating at a higher degree than it was when it was just still water. It's moving faster. If you slow the vibration down of that steam, it's going to turn into regular water, you know, just regular water. But then if you drop the temperature even lower, that water starts to freeze, or the molecules start to move slower, and the water becomes more fixated. It becomes more stubborn, and it's more solid. Just like your physical body is solid, as opposed to your soul, which is something that's vibrating at a high level. It's vibrating at a high vibratory rate, so it's not as fixated. So your physical body is your set, just like your you know, like I said, the word set, soot-on. That's where the word Satan comes from. Soot just means black, and on means opening. You actually can look at on as light too, the light within the dark, because soot alludes to the darkness. On could be considered the light within the dark. That's why when you hit a light switch and you turn your light on, the light comes on, because you hit the switch up and what was once dark becomes light. On, you know what I'm saying? By lack of progression and physicality being what we consider the opposite of what we were trying to do spiritually, that's how those things became associated with what we now call the devil or evil. Because when you look at the devil, he's red because you have, like I said, you have 7 chakras that run up your spine. Your lowest chakra, which is your root chakra, is your red chakra. It's your lowest chakra, and it represents the lowest part. It deals with all of the lowest qualities of you, your physical self, your personal self. And it's associated with the color red. That's why the devil is painted red and it's represented as red and shit like that. The horns on the devil are there because, or the horns represent nature. What is nature? Nature is the physical world around you. And the horns coming out of the head is associated with nature because of how plant life and, you know, trees and stuff grow out of the ground. The physical earth can be seen as a head with stuff growing out of it, just like the horns is coming out of the head of the quote-unquote devil. It's not a man under the ground with a pitchfork. These are higher principles that these characters represent. They represent ideas, not You know, a man actually under the ground waiting for you to come down there. So that's what the whole concept of the devil, that's the, in a nutshell. Matter of fact, I need to, where the fuck is my book? Hold up. Oh yeah. Get a book called The Devil by Jeffrey Burton Russell. And he'll break down, it's not what you think. You're not going to, you know, goddamn demons and shit gonna hop out. Even the demon word is, that just means you're genius. That ain't even what you think it is. But he gives a good breakdown on the whole devil concept in that book, so you won't be scared around this motherfucker. So you had Osiris, and you had Set and his 72 co-conspirators. Now the 72 co-conspirators, that comes from I'm gonna just tell the story. Set invited Osiris to a party. At this party, they had a chest or a casket that was decorated or whatever, and they had a contest, and whoever fit this coffin the best won the coffin. But it was built specifically for Osiris because they were setting him up. So Osiris goes to the party, he gets in the box, they close the box, throw the box in some water. In this sense, Osiris would be your soul. Get inside of the box would be your body, or your soul falling into a physical body and being sealed or trapped inside the body. Being thrown into the water, which symbolizes you waking up. It represents you in a physical body under the illusion that everything around you is real, because water is an illusion. Just like when you look and you see a reflection in the water, you know in that reflection, that's not you in that water. You know that that's just a reflection of you. Well, the same way when you look in that water and you see that reflection of you, and you know that's not you, your physical body is a reflection of your soul. So your soul is supposed to be looking at your physical body and knowing that this is not me. This is just a representation of me or a manifestation of me. So they threw the coffin in the water. That represented the death of Osiris, just like the sun. If you see the sun setting off the shoreline, it's going to seem as if that's where the whole baptism thing from. The same way you dunk your head in the water and you come back out, the sun dunks into the water or the dark waters when it sits beneath the horizon every night. And it quote unquote dies for the night. They threw the casket or the coffin in the water. The coffin washed up on shore, and a tree grew around it. Like I was telling y'all again, that's just another. Or I was telling you in the Christmas thing, you know what I'm saying? The tree, your physical body is the tree. So that's just another another rendition of the soul. Or you can look at it like, well, let me get with the story, because this shit can be all night. But the tree engulfed the body. That's where the whole Christmas tree thing comes from. Then this king of that land saw the tree, and he liked the tree, so he cut the tree down and he used it as a pillar in his palace. Now, pillars are called djed, you have what you call the Djed pillar, the Djedi. This is where you get your Jedi thing from. The Djed means the back. It's the backbone of Osiris, your spine. This is the spine that your Kundalini energy travels up to strike your pineal gland to make you more spiritual or to resurrect you. The Djed is the backbone of Osiris, your spine. The eye is the pineal gland, the third eye that sits on top of at the base of the brain, on top of the spine. The Jedi, that's where the Star Wars shit come from. The Jedi warrior. The king uses this as a pillar in his palace. Then this is where all Set comes in there, or Isis. She comes in, but she finds out her husband is missing, and she goes out, and she finds the body, or the coffin. She brings Osiris. She retrieves the body. She retrieves Osiris, and as soon as she does that, Set finds out, and he kidnaps the body again. But this time he chops it up into 14 pieces and scatters them throughout the ocean. Now, the separation of the 14 pieces, like I was saying, this symbolizes Osiris is the dragon. Before the physical world or the solar system came into fruition, you had a cosmic intercourse. You had a cosmic vagina, or a dark, moist region in space that was impregnated by a serpentine fire, which was a belt of stars, a serpentine. You can just imagine stardust, or a gang of stars in the shape of a snake or a dragon entering into this dark womb in space and bringing forth the whole solar system or whatever. When this cosmic dragon goes into this wormhole, because the vagina, the cosmic vagina that this serpentine fire is entering into, is the other side of this solar system. So when that energy falls into this cosmic vagina and comes out to create this physical world, this dragon, which was once whole, goes into this which was one serpentine sperm. Solar phallic energy is what you can refer to it as. When it goes into this hole, it's chopped up. When it's broken up, it falls to this side, and you have just like when you look at the sun. That's why you call it the sun, because this is what was born out of that cosmic orgasm of that solar phallic energy in that dark pocket in space, combining or having that intercourse. But when you look at the sun, and really the physical world period, because spiritually everything is one. But when you look at things with your physical eyes, everything appears separated. Just like Osiris' body was separated. The separation of Osiris' body, or the separation of Osiris symbolizes the illusion, or Osiris falling into the illusion, or your soul falling into the illusion, or falling into the belief of everything being separated. On one hand. On another hand, it represents because oneness is reality. Illusion, separation is an illusion. Everything is one. That's the trick. So Osiris being chopped up into 14 pieces symbolizes the soul of man falling into this illusion where everything seems separated, just like Osiris' body was separated. And it also represents, like I said, this was a solar phallic energy that consisted of all these stars or these intelligences that form the cosmic serpent. And I'm gonna do a breakdown on that whole thing right there. I don't want to get too deep into it now because it's gonna prolong the story. But when that serpentine fire was crucified, within this cosmic, or went to this cosmic hole or this cosmic vagina, it was broken up into 12 zodiacs. That's the 12. The other two left over is the sun and the moon. That's your 14. And they said the body got chopped up into 14 pieces. Set went retrieved every piece except for she retrieved 13 pieces, and only one she didn't find was the penis. And they say she recreated the penis with she fashioned a gold. That's where the whole gold member thing comes from, with your Austin Powers shit. She made him a gold penis, in which and then he came back to life and impregnated her spiritually. That's where the whole Immaculate Conception thing comes from. Osiris's penis was swallowed by a fish. Now, the swallow of the penis by a fish, because the vagina is a fish. It's the Vesica Pisces. Google that or look that up, Vesica Pisces. So, our ancestors, man, the mythology was so complex and involved. That's why I'm like, I'm tossing shit around. But the resurrection of the refashioning of the penis out of gold just basically represents the creation of the sun. Because the sun is a solar phallic symbol. The sun is masculine, predominantly. It has a feminine part too, but it's masculine, predominantly masculine. And just like Osiris came back to life and impregnated her with the Holy Spirit, the sun impregnates the physical earth, which is another version of Isis, with its solar phallic energy, so that it can give birth to life in the form of plants and people and etc. etc. So he impregnated her, and then he went on to live in the underworld and become the Lord of the underworld. And then you have the birth of the Christ, which is where your old Jesus story comes from. Heru, the word hero comes from Heru. Hero means savior, the one who comes to save the day. Heru is the savior by name. His name means savior, and it predates Christianity. But the Jesus story comes from this. But instead, with Jesus they compile everything into him, 3 into 1, except they don't give you the feminine part of it. You know what I'm saying? They give you the Holy Ghost thing, but it's the same way Osiris dies, Jesus dies. And then Osiris doesn't resurrect. In the Kemetic story, Heru comes back as the resurrected form of his father. In the Bible, it's just this Jesus resurrects and this, that, and the third. So it's like they took the whole story and put it all on one man. When it was with us, it was like Osiris, Isis, and Heru. So Heru resurrects and he goes to avenge the death of his father, and he goes to battle with Set. They go to war. Set puts his eye out. He chops off Set's penis or whatever. Now, or pulls his genitals out or something like that. Putting out of the eye by Set symbolizes the physical world blinding you to your soul, which is Heru. Heru is your soul. Osiris represents the death of your soul coming into this world. Heru represents the resurrection of your soul, or you coming into the understanding of you being a soul within the physical body while you're here. But when you first get here, the physical body blinds you to that. And I told you Set is associated with the physicality because of the whole devil thing or whatever. And Set, Heru pulls off his genitals because the genitals are symbolic of the lower nature. How do you get here into the lower nature? The lower nature being the physical world. You get here through the sex, the penis. You know what I'm saying? So the ripping off of the genitals symbolizes the murdering your lower self, or suppressing, not necessarily murdering it, because you need your lower self. Now, I'm not saying something's wrong with sex and being partaking of the physical world. It just becomes a problem when it's an imbalance. When you're too worldly and you don't pay attention to your spiritual self, then you're losing. But that's what the whole pulling of the genital things off represented. It represented the suppressed, because once you raise your energy up, your kundalini energy up your spine to your pineal gland, which your pineal gland is Heru too, the eye of Horus. That's what the Egyptian eye thing is. That represents Horus. When you look at if you was to look at the, I'm gonna post a picture of it. I need to take a picture. I got a perfect picture of it. It's on my page too, my Instagram page. And when you look at the eye of Heru, or the Egyptian eyes, they call it. Some people call it the evil eye. I still don't get that shit. But that's you. If you was to look at the hemisphere, if you was to take one hemisphere of your brain off and look at what's left from a side view, you will see that you'll see the whole shape of that Egypt. You'll see the quote unquote Egyptian eye, or the eye Heru. You will see it. Your pineal gland, pituitary gland, and your hypothalamus gland. It's the same shape. That's what the shape of that's the Christ. It's at the crest, or the Christ of your head. Your top of your head is the crest. It's at the top of your head, or the base of your spine. I mean, at the base of your brain. Like I was saying, that's why you get the word Christ from. Christ, crest, caress, even the word caress. When you become the Christ, or you're Christian, like I was telling you about the mummification process, when they are mummifying the body, they caress. What is caress? Caress means to rub. They rub honey or tree sap on the physical body. The tree sap or the honey being symbolic of the golden soul that permeates your whole body once your pineal gland starts to secrete melatonin. Like I said, your kundalini energy raises up, it strikes your pineal gland secretes melatonin. Melatonin is what makes you more spiritually active. The melatonin goes to the heart distributes the melatonin throughout the whole body. Your whole body illuminates the melanin within your physical body, which has a light within it. The light comes out of it, it illuminates back to the Christmas tree. That's why the Christmas lights are on the Christmas tree, because the Christmas lights on the Christmas tree represents the light that's within your Christmas tree, your physical body, that illuminates once you raise kundalini energy up and you bring your and you draw the light out of the dark melanin. So you have melanin, but the ideal with melanin is the inner melanin. The physical melanin just protects your skin from the sun and makes you compatible with the sun. But your inner melanin, neuromelanin as they call it, and the melanin that runs up the base of your spine and all that, that runs up your central nervous system, that's the most important melanin, because that's the melanin where information lies throughout melanin period. But when you that's why they tell you to meditate, close your eyes, and go within yourself, so you can draw the light out from within you. You use the physical world as a jump start. But the illuminating of your whole body, your inner body, illuminates to the golden color, which causes you to become less physical, or you die to the physical world. That's why you have to die. That's the whole thing about dying and resurrecting. So when they mummify the body, they caress or rub tree sap or the golden honey on the corpse, and then they wrap it in a bandage. The wrapping of the bandage symbolizes your physical body wrapped around your golden soul. So the physical, even though that's a physical body that they are mummifying, what they are suggesting is that this physical body has now gone, the soul that was once in his physical body has gone on to become a pure soul. So we're going to represent the physical body, the physical body that's left behind, as a soul. So we're going to put the honey over it to symbolize that it's become a soul. But then you wrap the mummy, it's basically a reenactment of the whole incarnation process. Put it like that, because you had a physical body that's dead, and they rub it with the golden honey or the tree sap that symbolizes the obtaining of the soul, and then they wrap the soul up with the bandage. The wrapping of the soul with the bandage represents the physical body being placed over a soul, and then that represents, you know, the death to the soul, because the physical or the bandages are over the soul. But then to represent the resurrection of that whole mummy, they lift the mummy up. That's why when you look at all the old cartoons like Scooby-Doo and shit, and you see the mummy raised up, that comes from Kemetic hieroglyphs. When you see the mummy laying flat and dead, that's the mummy that's Osiris, that's dead in the mental. But when you see the mummy raised up, that means that this is the one that was alive, that died, and then came back alive. The rising represents the resurrection, or the standing up of the mummy, because you have the mummy laying dead in the mental, and then next to it you have the mummy raised up. This represents the mummy, or the soul that once died in a physical body, but it glorified its body and raised the body up and raised itself up spiritually. So, and that was, and that story, and like I said, I can take y'all to a whole nother interpretation of it, because our stories represented many different things. That one story could represent many different things at one time. You know, I learned that part. You know, the part I just broke down to y'all. The last, like a lot of the stuff I just told you, I figured that out when I got home. But I understood what the story was. Well, I understood the message that the story was telling while I was in there, you know, and you know, so you know, I was in there doing my thing, man. I was studying this shit, and you know, I realized once I got familiar with the eye of Heru. Now one day I thought I was in the shower or something, and I looked at my birthmark, and I said, damn, my birthmark is shaped like the eye of Heru. I said, oh, okay, that's interesting. So, you know, but I didn't make too much of a big deal of it, but I took note of it, because I was like, you know, all this shit is starting to add up. You know, I always knew I was a great dude, or a great man, if I could say so myself. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, this stuff is starting to come together, you know. And what else was a significant factor in there, man? You know, like I said, oh yeah, that's another thing. When I got into the lessons, the Nation of Gods and Earth lessons, you know, I was looking at the lessons, and it was, you know, it was looking, you know,